Good afternoon. I pray that your Tuesday is filled with spaces and places of joy, of peace, of happiness. And I am here today at National Harbor in Maryland. And I want to talk about the post I did this morning, my Good Morning post, that talks about when you've been hurt and you're bleeding on people. And I stopped right here because I want to show you an image of something that's called the awakening. And in this image, I don't know if you can see the face, but let me flip this around if I can. In the image, it's a person who's laying in sand and he's trapped. And there's an image of complete agony on his face. And that's what I propose that it's like when you have been hurt, but you have not done anything to heal. It's like you're trapped in sand and in agony. I want to share with you a little story of something that happened to me yesterday that I think better will give you an analogy of what I'm talking about. So yesterday I was on a call, and I was on the call. It was a Zoom call, so they couldn't see what I was doing, but I had my foot in my hand and I was picking at a hangnail, which is probably not the best thing to do, but alas, that's what I was doing. And I pulled to get the hangnail off and didn't realize how deep it was. And for a couple of seconds, maybe about 30 seconds even, I was just shocked at how intense the pain was. But I decided that I would simply just suck it up and try to ignore it. But what happened was, in about 30 seconds, it started to bleed profusely. And at that point, I had a choice. I could just let it bleed and not interrupt my call. In back of me is a capital wheel, and not interrupt my call, but I chose to call it out. I chose to address what I needed in the moment. Instead of putting on a front, instead of putting on appearances, I said to the person, give me a moment. My foot has started to bleed. And I got up and I went into the bathroom and I began to administer to that wound. And initially I poured water, cups of water, on my toe with it positioned over the toilet, which is not a great image, but it's exactly what I did. And it kind of stopped the bleeding, but not enough, because once I moved away from putting the water, the blood came again. And for some of us, when we have been hurt, when we are in pain, we try some temporary measures, and they may work for a little while. A temporary measure may be to just try to forget it, or to drink or drug it or sex it away. Or a temporary measure may be anything to try to ignore the pain, ignore the bleeding. But I knew that that was not the answer. So I hollered out to the person on the Zoom call, I'm coming, I'm still working on this, I'll be with you in a minute. I did not stop my own healing to appease someone else. I did not stop my quest for healing simply because I wanted to save face. I did not stop my quest for healing because I didn't want to look stupid. And so, to make a long story short, I went and got some gauze, and trying to reach the gauze in my linen closet, I knocked some things over, but I didn't stop to pick them up because I had an immediate task at hand. And that's what I'm suggesting for some of you who have been hurt and now you're bleeding all over everything. Sometimes you got to knock some things out the way. Sometimes you got to make a way out of no way. Sometimes you may have to go ahead and bite the bullet and figure out how to pay for those counseling sessions because you know you can't do it on your own. Anyway, I got the gauze and I temporarily got the blood to stop by pressing it, but I also knew that if I continued to walk on my toe, which I was going to have to, that I needed a more permanent solution. So when I finished the call, I went and got a bandage and I bandaged it up. And even throughout the night, I could feel the pressure of the Band-Aid on the wound, but I left it there because I knew it was doing something. And when some of you are beginning to heal that wound that has you bleeding over everything, sometimes the healing process will hurt. Sometimes you will feel the pressure of, I shouldn't say sometimes, often it will hurt. Often the healing process will make you think, is this really worth it? Can I go through this? But trust me, you can. So to end my analogy, the next morning, after I got up and did some things, I took the bandage off. And is my wound completely healed? Nope, but it's in the process. It's now being exposed to air because it needs oxygen. It needs light. It needs to be able to circulate. And that's a part of our healing process, that once we begin to heal, we need to begin to take some risks and put ourselves out there and to test the waters of how to live without being under the umbrella of pain and depression and constant fear that someone's going to find us out. And I'm believing and I know by following this process with my toe that soon and very soon this injury with my toe that will soon be just but a memory. And hopefully I will learn. And I'm not trying to say whatever hurt that you're experiencing is your fault, like my toe thing was, because sometimes things just happen. But sometimes if we're honest, there are some lessons we can learn. There are some ways that we can begin to fortify ourselves so that we are able to possibly avoid those harmful situations in the future. Now, I hope that this video is helpful to some of you. I hope that for some of you, as we move into 2021, and I've been encouraging you to think about moving your possibilities into realities, I just want to let you know that without healing, without addressing some of your emotional stuff, you can move a possibility into reality, but you will not be able to experience the full fullness of joy until you yourself are in a place of contentment, a place of peace, a place where you feel free. I love you all. My hands are getting cold. Just want to keep turning around so you can get a sense of what I am experiencing before I begin the trek up a very long hill to get back to my car. Love you all, and we'll talk with you later. Stay safe. Again, congratulations to our new president-elect and vice president. And I cannot wait to see the marching bands as they escort them in. I'm someone who loves ceremonies, so I can't wait. Love you all. Bye-bye.